Many people search for a life without struggle, a path where everything flows effortlessly. But let me ask you, if everything were easy, would it hold any meaning? In the Shaolin Temple, we are taught one truth very early: nothing is easy. And that is exactly why it is worth pursuing. Ease is not the goal, growth is. And growth, my friend, is born in discomfort. It is shaped in discipline. It is carved out of repeated failure, not instant success. When you wake up in the morning and feel resistance, when the world tells you it's too hard, too painful, too uncertain, remember, this is not a sign to stop. It is the moment to begin, because every step on the hard road makes you stronger. Every difficulty is a chance to sharpen your spirit. The question is not, is it easy? The question is it worth it? And if it is, then we walk the path, one step at a time. The belief that nothing is easy is not meant to discourage, but to awaken. From the moment we open our eyes each morning, we are met with choices, challenges, and resistance. The very nature of growth demands effort. Ease is seductive, but it rarely leads to transformation. When something comes easily, we may enjoy the moment, but it seldom changes who we are at our core. What shapes us is what tests us. We develop strength in the tension, not in the release. We find character not in comfort, but in the fire of adversity. When we understand that nothing is easy, we stop expecting life to be simple and start preparing ourselves to be stronger. In the face of difficulty, people often seek shortcuts, but shortcuts only lead to shallow victories. They skip the lesson, the process, the depth. When we accept that nothing is easy, we no longer look for the shortest path, we look for the path that will refine us. This is the warrior's mindset, the artist's mindset, the monk's mindset, the understanding that value comes from the struggle. The challenge is not a wall, it is a doorway, but only for those willing to push through. Many people get discouraged when they encounter failure. They believe that if they were meant to succeed, the journey would be smooth. But that is not true. In fact, the more meaningful the goal, the more resistance you will face. This is the paradox of achievement. The greater your dream, the greater your discipline must be. The bigger your vision, the stronger your spirit must become. That's why those who thrive are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented, they are the most resilient. They are the ones who did not stop when it got hard. They are the ones who understood that difficulty is a signal, not of defeat, but of direction. There is a hidden beauty in struggle. It strips away what is unnecessary. It reveals your true intentions. When something is hard, you must confront why you started. Are you doing it for applause, for comfort, for ego, or are you doing it because it means something to you deeply, personally, powerfully? Hardship tests commitment, and in that test, you discover who you really are. In Shaolin training, repetition is everything. A movement must be practiced 1,000 times before it becomes effortless. Not because perfection is the goal, but because through repetition, your mind becomes still, your body becomes sharp, and your spirit becomes focused. The process is not easy, but it is essential. You cannot bypass the work. You cannot purchase mastery. You earn it moment by moment, breath by breath, failure by failure. In life, it is the same. Relationships, health, focus, discipline, none of it comes easily. And that is why it matters. If being kind were easy, more people would do it. If staying calm were easy, peace would be everywhere. If choosing growth over comfort were easy, the world would be filled with wisdom, but it isn't. Because nothing worthwhile is easy, and that is our opportunity. You must begin to see obstacles not as interruptions, but as invitations. Invitations to become who you are meant to be. The pain of effort is the price of excellence. The discomfort of discipline is the gateway to freedom. The uncertainty of risk is the birthplace of courage. But to access these qualities, you must stop expecting ease. You must stop believing that success should feel natural, that growth should feel smooth, that life should accommodate your desires. Life will not bend to your comfort, but it will respond to your persistence. When we accept that nothing is easy, we stop wasting energy on complaints. We stop resisting reality and start working with it. We begin to honor the process. We begin to appreciate the slow burn of progress. This shift in minds, it is not passive, it is powerful. It takes strength to wake up each day and say, "This will be hard, and I'm ready." It takes courage to face challenges, not with frustration, but with focus. It takes humility to accept that you are a work in progress and that every challenge is part of your shaping. Hardship is not punishment, it is preparation. The mountain was not placed before you to stop you, but to build you. Every step up that steep slope, every fall, every bruise, every doubt, they are the chisels carving you into someone capable of carrying your purpose. When people hear the phrase "nothing is easy," they often interpret it as a burden, as if life is meant to be a continuous uphill battle with no reward. But in reality, it is a truth that sets the foundation for mastery, for discipline, and for a deeper understanding of ourselves. When you accept that nothing is easy, you begin to live with intention. You begin to respect the process instead of rushing through it. You stop chasing quick results and start building solid roots. Life becomes a training ground, not a test to avoid, but a practice to embrace. Like the martial artist who repeats the same motion thousands of times, not because it is easy or exciting, but because each repetition sharpens not only the body, but also the mind and the spirit. This mindset changes how we approach struggle. Most people avoid anything that feels too hard. They look for the easiest path, the most comfortable way, the least resistance. But ease rarely leads to growth. The tree that grows in soft soil with no wind may rise quickly, but its roots are shallow, and it will fall in the first storm. The tree that grows against wind, against pressure, develops deep roots. It is grounded, it is steady. We are the same. The more we expose ourselves to challenge, the stronger our foundation becomes. The deeper our roots go, and this doesn't happen through ease, it happens through engagement with what is difficult. Understanding this also changes how we view time. When things are not easy, they take longer. And in that space, in that waiting, we are trained in patience. We live in a culture that wants instant gratification, instant results, instant rewards, instant comfort. But greatness is never instant. It is built brick by brick, day by day, through countless quiet moments of persistence. And when nothing is easy, every one of those moments becomes a part of the sculpture you are creating with your life. You begin to see each struggle not as something to escape, but as something that gives shape and meaning to your effort. This perspective also develops humility. When you realize that nothing is easy, you stop expecting things to happen just because you wish for them. You begin to respect the work, and you begin to respect others who are also doing the work. It's easy to admire the result, the strong body, the calm mind, the successful career, but when you know the effort behind it, you begin to appreciate the unseen hours, the sacrifices, the failures that came before the victory. That awareness humbles you, and in humility you grow wiser. You stop comparing your path to others because you understand that everyone is facing something hard. Everyone is walking their own difficult path. And that understanding breeds compassion. Difficulty also teaches you to find joy in small progress. When nothing is easy, you stop expecting massive leaps. Instead, you begin to celebrate the small steps, the fact that you showed up today, that you pushed a little further, that you kept going when it would have been easier to quit. These small victories are powerful. They are signs of inner strength, and they create momentum. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something consistently. The journey becomes more meaningful because every inch is earned. Every gain is the result of effort, and that gives it value. There is also a mental clarity that comes when you accept that nothing is easy. You stop wasting energy on frustration. You stop asking, "Why is this so hard?" and start asking, "How can I grow through this?" that shift is everything. It takes you out of victim mode and into action. It doesn't mean the difficulty disappears, it means you rise to meet it. You become less reactive and more responsible. You begin to carry the weight of your own progress with strength and resolve. And over time, this clarity becomes your compass. It directs your decisions, your discipline, your focus. In the Shaolin tradition, we train not for comfort, but for clarity and mastery. The training is not easy. It is never meant to be. The simplicity of the movements does not mean they are simple. In fact, the simplest movements often require the most discipline, and life mirrors that. The most powerful habits, waking early, breathing with awareness, speaking with kindness, choosing what is right over what is easy, they are all simple, but not easy. That is the paradox. Simplicity does not equal ease. But within that difficulty lies the power to transform. So, when you find yourself facing something that feels too hard, too slow, too complex, remind yourself this is part of it. This is the work. Not because life is cruel, but because life is refining you. The challenges are not blocks in your path. They are your path. You do not become stronger in spite of difficulty. You become stronger through it. The fire does not burn you down, it burns away what is not essential. It reveals what remains. The idea that nothing is easy forces us to confront one of the most important truths about life, that everything worthwhile demands effort, energy, and endurance. In every field of human excellence, from the spiritual to the physical, from art to science, mastery is not achieved by accident, it is earned. What you see on the surface, a calm mind, a sharp technique, a powerful presence, is the result of what is often invisible. The struggle behind the scenes, the long hours of repetition, the quiet persistence when no one is watching. The illusion of ease is seductive, but it is just that, an illusion. True excellence is forged in discomfort, shaped by setbacks, and refined in solitude. When you believe that things should be easy, you develop a fragile mindset. The moment difficulty appears, you interpret it as a sign to stop. You begin to think something is wrong with you or wrong with your path. But when you accept that nothing is easy, your perspective shifts. You begin to understand that resistance is part of the process. You expect the challenge, you prepare for it, and because you are prepared, you are not easily shaken. You meet the storm with calm, you meet pressure with poise. This mindset is what separates those who try from those who train. There is a power that comes from embracing difficulty. It teaches you to dig deeper, to find strength you didn't know you had. When you hit your physical limit and still push forward, you realize that your limits are often mental. The body follows the mind, and when the mind is disciplined, when it has accepted the reality that nothing will come without work, it can lead the body through anything. But this discipline must be cultivated. It does not appear on its own. It is developed every time you face something hard and choose not to run from it. We often think strength is about winning, but real strength is about persistence. It's about showing up again and again, even when progress feels invisible. It's about holding yourself to a higher standard even when no one else is watching. The world will always offer you an easier way. There will always be an option to quit, to settle, to compromise. But the person who has trained themselves to move through difficulty understands that the struggle is not the enemy. The struggle is the gate, and only those who walk through it get to discover what is on the other side. In the teachings of the Shaolin tradition, every movement, no matter how basic, carries meaning. It is not about learning many things, but about doing one thing well, over and over. In the repetition, the body becomes strong, the mind becomes clear, and the heart becomes humble. There is no shortcut to this. You cannot think your way into skill. You must move, you must sweat, you must endure. This applies to everything, not just martial arts. If you want to learn patience, you must face situations that test your patience. If you want to be more focused, you must resist distractions. If you want peace, you must go through conflict not to fight, but to understand. Every quality you seek, lies on the other side of effort. The path of growth is not a smooth road. It is filled with questions, obstacles, and moments of deep doubt. You will ask yourself if it's worth it. You will wonder if you are strong enough. You will feel the urge to turn back. But this is where transformation lives, not in the comfort of certainty, but in the uncertainty of persistence. Those who reach their potential are not those who never fall. They are the ones who rise again, again, and again. And each time they rise, they become less afraid of falling. Understanding that nothing is easy also brings clarity to your intentions. Why are you doing this? What are you willing to endure for it? The answers to these questions become clear only in the fire of challenge. When things are easy, your motivation is never tested. But when things get hard, you discover what truly matters to you. Difficulty strips away the surface and reveals your core. This is not a punishment. It is a gift. It brings depth to your journey. It aligns your actions with your purpose. In a world that glorifies speed and convenience, choosing the difficult path might seem foolish. But it is this very choice that builds something lasting. Temporary comfort cannot compete with lasting character. Easy victories fade, but the lessons learned through struggle, those stay with you. They shape your posture, your mindset, your ability to respond to life with strength and grace. The pursuit of anything meaningful will demand all of you. It will ask for your focus, your discipline, your heart, and this is why it is worth pursuing. Because in giving your all, you discover all that you are capable of becoming. When you fully embrace the reality that nothing is easy, you begin to see every experience in your life through a different lens. You stop wishing for things to be different, and you start learning how to face what is. This acceptance becomes a quiet power inside you. It transforms how you respond to challenges, how you carry yourself through uncertainty, and how you continue when others stop. Instead of asking life to remove your burdens, you begin to ask yourself to grow stronger in carrying them. This is not about seeking hardship, but about no longer fearing it, because the moment you stop resisting difficulty, it loses its power over you. Every human being at some point will face moments where the weight feels too heavy, when dreams seem distant, when setbacks feel personal, and when the effort does not seem to match the outcome. In those moments, people often search for escape. They want a way out, a shortcut, an easier route. But if you have trained your mind to understand that nothing is easy, you do not waste time on escape. Instead, you ask yourself a better question. What can this moment teach me? Where is the lesson hidden in this struggle? What part of me is being called to evolve? This shift from resistance to awareness creates a powerful foundation for growth. Discipline is born in this space, not in ease, but in friction. Discipline is not just about doing what is right when it feels good. It's about doing what is needed even when it feels uncomfortable, even when no one is clapping, even when you are not sure if it's working. The path of discipline is rarely exciting. It is often repetitive. It requires attention to the small things again and again. But within that repetition lies the secret. The mind becomes sharper. The body becomes stronger. The will becomes unshakable. And one day, without realizing it, you become the kind of person who can handle more than you ever imagined. Not because life became easier, but because you became more capable. True transformation doesn't happen when life is gentle. It happens when life is honest, and life is honest through difficulty. In times of ease, you may not question your patterns, your beliefs, your reactions. But when you are stretched, you begin to see yourself clearly. You recognize the areas where you cling, where you avoid, where you resist. And if you are willing to stay present, those moments become your mirror. They show you what needs to be strengthened and what needs to be let go of. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of wisdom. Most people want change, but they do not want to be changed. They want growth, but they do not want to face what growth requires. They want clarity, but they do not want to pass through confusion. But if you want to rise, you must be willing to be broken open, not destroyed, but reshaped. The fire of hardship is not there to burn you. It is there to forge you. the longer you stay in that fire with presence and purpose, the more refined you become. And that refinement is something no one can give you. It can only be earned through your own struggle. The strength you build through difficulty is quiet. It does not shout. It does not need applause. It is the kind of strength that walks into a room and doesn't need to prove anything. It is the strength of presence, of knowing who you are, of trusting the journey even when it makes no promises. This inner strength becomes your anchor when life is uncertain. It holds you steady. It reminds you that everything is a cycle, that storms pass, that wounds heal, that pain transforms. In the Shaolin philosophy, one of the greatest teachings is simplicity. But simplicity does not mean ease. It means stripping away the unnecessary. It means doing what is essential without distraction. Living this way requires a deep awareness and understanding that the simple things are often the hardest to do consistently. Breathing consciously, standing still, moving with intention, speaking with care, these are not complex tasks, but they are not easy, and that is why they are so powerful when mastered. The person who has accepted that nothing is easy no longer waits for motivation. They move with discipline. They no longer need permission. They take responsibility. They no longer avoid the hard path. They choose it, not because they enjoy pain, but because they understand that ease does not lead to depth. And depth is what they seek in their work, in their relationships, in their purpose. They understand that everything they desire is on the other side of consistent effort, focused intention, and a willingness to face discomfort with an open heart. The journey of embracing difficulty is not glamorous. It is often unseen. It happens in early mornings, in quiet hours, in moments of solitude and decision. But over time, it builds something unshakable. A calm mind, a steady heart, a grounded presence, and this becomes your gift to the world. Not a life without struggle, but a life lived with meaning, with courage, and with the unshakable understanding that nothing is easy, and that is exactly why it is worth it. So now you understand nothing in this life comes without effort, without discipline, without persistence, and that is not a curse, it is a blessing, because in this truth lies your greatest power. When you stop expecting life to be easy, you start preparing yourself to be stronger. You start facing resistance not with frustration, but with focus. You begin to honor the process, to grow through the pain, to walk the path that shapes you. The road is not meant to be smooth, it is meant to build you. Every challenge is an opportunity, every struggle is a teacher, every failure is a doorway, and if you continue, step by step, with your eyes open and your heart steady, you will become the person that difficulty was always calling you to be. Not because it was easy, but because you chose not to quit when it wasn't.